more homework. So this is the homework due on April 22nd, next Thursday. It's what I signed, just happened to sign this morning. We're going to start doing a super thing that's really important in algebra. We're going to talk about factoring. Factoring is just undoing the distributive property. So we literally start in the same place we started with distributive property with a monomial times a binomial. But that's the thing. They did the product and want to know what the side is. So what they're really asking here is they told you that this side was 5x, and they want you to tell them what these two sides have to be to get those products. Well, what times 5x gives me 10x squared? Well, that would be 2x. And what times 5x gives me 5x? That would be 1. So this side is 2x plus 1. Okay, now here's the similar idea. Now this time they're not going to let us do area, okay? They're going to just have us do it kind of in our minds. We don't have to draw the area out. And I'm going to go back and make sure. Okay, so it's definitely saying take out the greatest common factor. I wanted to make sure what they were asking for. So what we're looking for is, in this term, what do they share in common? Well, they don't all have an x. This has an x squared, this has an x, this one doesn't. So these can't be the correct answer. There's no x to pull out of this one. Okay, so you can't, if you distributed this, if you took this and you multiplied it out, that would be 4x cubed. Right off the bat, we're wrong. Now, here's the difference. So we know neither one of these can be the right answer. Why is this one's going to be the right answer, C? Why? Because this is also correct. If you distribute this, you get 4x squared plus 16x minus 2. The difference is which one took out the biggest thing we could take, and that one's right here. So what you're doing here is you're kind of looking at this going, okay, what's the biggest number that will divide into all three numbers? And in this particular case, it is 4. So it's clearly C. All right, back to the area model. What did we multiply 7x by to make it 7x squared? Well, clearly that's x. What did we multiply 7x by to make it negative 14x? Well, I put add, but actually I'm going to do subtract because that's going to be negative 2. Because 7x times x gives me 7x squared. 7x times negative 2 gives me negative 14x. Now, last one, they want to know which one matches. So when we look at these two numbers, notice they both have an x. This has 2 x's, this has 1 x. So we got to get an x outside. All of them have an x outside, so we know that's at least part of they're all possible. Now, we look at the 10 and the 50. What's the biggest number that will divide into both 10 and 50? Well, that's 10. 10 will go into 10 once, 10 will go into 55 times. So we're going to pull the 10x out. So now we're down to these two choices. So we know it's not just x, we know it's 10x. Well, which one of these two gives me back what I started with? Well, 10x times x gives me 10x squared. 10x times 5 gives me 50x. 10x times x squared gives me x cubed. See, what they messed up here is they didn't remember to also, they pulled out the 10, but they also didn't pull out the x. They didn't account for the fact that they had moved an x outside of the parentheses. So the correct answer here is A. Again, as I always end these, I hope that helped. If not, always ask questions. This is a big deal, and as we go forward, this is going to get a little bit harder.